just before football fans come for me. I know we don't joke with our football. It's finito, not the headmaster. Okay. Finidi George, not Mutiu Adepunch. Sometimes things get mixed up. But Jeffrey.
Yeah, so let's switch the conversation now. We're now talking football. And of course, Suleiman Adebayo. Pooja joins us. Pooja, it's good to see you after all of that experience in Cote d'Ivoire. But it's good to see you again. So let's get straight to it. Eventually, we have appointed head coach, Finidi George. The conversation is out there, for and against. Where do you stand? What does this look like for us as a nation, a footballing nation?
Good morning. Good to be back on the show from Cote d'Ivoire, of course. I think it's a good move for the Super Eagles as well as for NFF. This is someone who has been with the team for the past 2 to 3 years. He was the assistant coach to Jose Posero. He has, did the qualifiers with Posero. Of course, he was at the AFCON with Posero. And again, he took the team to Morocco to play against Ghana and Mali for the friendly in Morocco. So it's someone that knows the team very well. He knows, of course, the NFL very well. And I don't think it's out of place to actually give him the job for someone who knows the team very well. And of course, he has been active. Remember, Finidi George won the MPFL title with Eyimba last season, and they're still doing well on the table. This season, they are in top 4 in the MPFL table, so he has been doing well for himself, and of course, he knows the team very well.
So is this taking a risk, or this is competence at play?
It's not a risk. His competence is not, it's not out of place. He's up there as one of the best coaches in Nigeria. Like I said, he won the MPFL title with Eyimba last season. That's up there. The friendly against Ghana and Mali, of course, he won one, lost one. He won against Ghana, and our closest rival when it comes to football. And again, he has been with the team for the past 2 to 3 years. The players knows him. He knows the tactics very well, and he knows the tactics ahead. Remember, we are playing the World Cup qualifier in June, so we don't have any other match except that qualifier. So for someone who took us to the friendly in Morocco, and of course there's no window for any international break for friendlies until June, where we are going to play South Africa and Benin Republic. So the NFL look it inward, and feel like if they bring another person entirely who is going to understand the philosophy of the team, it's going to be a risk. So for him, for someone who knows the team very well and who have been doing well locally as well, I think it's a no-brainer not to give him that job.
Do you agree that this is, as some are saying, that this is a test for the NFF, particularly when you situate it within the context of the position expressed by ex-international Samson Siasia, that the NFF traditionally places more premium in treatment for foreign coaches than for indigenous coaches? And in that context, how do you see the treatment of Coach Finidi George in the coming days and perhaps years?
That's the big worry for Nigeria, and I must confess to you on the show, because if you look at what happened in Morocco, Finidi George was the only technical person that went with the team to Morocco. No assistant coaches, nobody. He was the one doing the calls, he was the one doing the tactics, he was the one doing the formation. There was no game leader. There was nobody. He was the only technical person that went with the team to Morocco. And that's what we are talking about. Look at what happened yesterday. There was an announcement without assistant coaches for Finidi, without a target, without terms of condition of the contract. So, it begs to ask question, what is going on with the NFF? There's nothing in place for him, and for now, the NFL is broke. We cannot afford a foreign coach. So that's why we have to settle for a domestic, or we will say a local coach. So we are asking questions. We are still debating on or speculating on the assistant coach for a manager when we have a World Cup qualifier in less than 5 weeks. So it's a question we continue to ask. I think everybody's aware of what is going on now, and everybody's asking questions. We are continue to ask questions, put them on their tools to give us right way to announce and right personnel to work with Finidi George.
I mean, it's sad to hear that because it's just mind-boggling, and I do hope that the NFF will come up, because we had the minister speak about this, that there were plans to announce a coach between 1-2 weeks. So you'll expect that this was well thought through, and all of those things that ought to be put in place should have been put in place. As you said, you know how things will go if we were to be another coach. But I do hope that the NFF will come out to clear the air and give us the actual fact. But looking at what we now have on our hands, ahead of us, as it were, we have the World Cup qualifiers. For him, I mean, we won that match against Ghana. I think he was in charge then, and we lost the one against Mali 2-0. So it's like 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, which is quite good. And now that you've given us a context to what played out, he was the only one. It's now a bit more understandable. But speak to us. These matches that we have, they are major deciders. So must we put all of those things you talked about in place and not expect too much from him? Because if he doesn't have support, he can only do little. I'd like you to speak to that.
That's what we are talking about. We know the importance of these 2 games in June. Remember, we are just 2 points from 2 games from our World Cup qualifier group. South Africa is topping the table with 4 points. And we need to get maximum points from South Africa and from Benin Republic. The good news for us is that CAF didn't approve any stadium for Benin Republic in Benin Republic, so they'll be playing that game at the Felix Stadium in Abidjan. And like we know Abidjan very well. We got to the semi-final of AFCON, so we know that stadium very well. And it was a base for Super Eagles, at AFCON. So it's a good news for us. But away from that, the NFL must decide what is going on from today. One, they have to announce the assistant coaches for Finidi George. There should be no speculation. 5 weeks now, we are playing the most important games, under, the NFF, under this present NFF. And again, we have to talk about the terms and conditions. How many years are they giving, Finidi George? If he fails to qualify for the World Cup, is he going to be sacked? If he qualifies for the World Cup, is he taking the team to the World Cup? And again, the target for Finidi George. So there's so much still to be announced from the NFL. We are still waiting. Speculation cannot help us at this point in time, because the players are looking, the players are waiting, for Finidi George now. They have to send letters to the players. He knows his philosophy. The players must know the coaches before the end of the season so that they can prepare themselves on who will coach them as well. So all in all, we are still waiting for their assistant managers, terms and conditions of the contract, and of course their assistant managers, that will assist Finidi George ahead of the 2 games in June.
All right, Pooja, are you expecting that we should see some level of increase in terms of remuneration? Because I heard Tiasia say when they are paying foreign coaches, say $50,000, you pay a Nigerian coach 1 million naira. The gap is just worlds apart. Okay,
the latest indication, who took us to the Nations Cup 2013 got 5 million per month. And like I said, we cannot afford any foreign coach at this point in time. Even for Posaro, he had to take a pay cut from £70,000 to £50,000 to take us to AFCON. And of course, after AFCON, he had a renegotiation and we couldn't pay that amount of money. Countries like Morocco, countries like Algeria, countries like Ghana are paying well over $100,000. And I don't think the NFL can afford that. But for Finidi George, again, like I said, we don't even know his salary. Right now, we don't know his salary. But of course, like Siasa said, they have been low when it comes to salaries and payments and even allowances. So that is what we want the NFS to clear to journalists. We can't speculate. I can see they speculate on China's TV, which is not even good, for the sports space. So we need to know all these details, like I said, and of course find a way to settle our home before the crucial games, in June. So, but like you said, we have challenges about the local coaches not getting paid well, and like I said, we cannot afford the foreign coaches.
Pooja, we can't talk enough about the management of this whole thing. And in relation to that, I wonder if you agree with the talking points in some quarters that perhaps the NFF knew all along that they were going to go with with Finidi George as a choice for a coach. And in that regard, the announcement ought to have been made instead of this needless delay. So do you think this will affect Coach Finidi George as he embarks on the task of helping Nigeria win the all-important matches ahead, speaking of which, South Africa, the match against Benin Republic as well? Do you think it will affect him mentally in terms of preparation?
Well, it was a crazy space, in the past few weeks about who is going to be the coach of the Super Eagles. There were, some PR, managers actually pushing Emmanuel Manike to be the coach of the team. Even there's some quarters that even announced, platform that even announced Manike as the coach of the Super Eagles last week, even last 2 weeks. And like I said, it's not going to settle at home. The NFF knew what they were doing. From the offset after AFCON, remember the NFF put out an application to the public that they're looking for a manager. Who does that? It's not done anywhere in the world for a federation to put out notice for job interview. So it has been washed from the start. But we thank God that we can actually sit down and settle for a manager. And again, like I said, if you are not going to take Finidi George, why take him to Morocco for the 2 friendlies? This is the only window that a manager can test his team ahead of the most important games. And it was Finidi George that took the team to Morocco. So why do you wait till after 4 or 5 weeks of the international break to name a manager? But like I said, it's settled now, and we need to settle their staff coaches by this week, so that in the next 4 weeks, we know straight away that the next international break, this is our manager, this is our assistant managers, and of course, this is the terms and conditions, and even the target for Finidi George and his assistant. Now, we are having speculation again about the assistants. Is it going to be a Mokashi? Is it going to be the American footballer in America? Is it going to be a Monike again? And there's a lot of speculation that is going on. So we are waiting that by this week, end of this week, we have everything settled with the Super Eagles.
Nigerians don't joke with football, so he will have just about a month to prepare for that all-important World Cup qualifier against South Africa. I don't know if that's enough time, as you said. Perhaps we could have done this earlier. But I'd like you to also speak to, well, the expectations of Nigerians. We saw how our relationship with the former coach went from sour to love to even sour again, and it's just a very complicated one. So how should Nigerians approach this? We know that naturally you cannot control people's expectations, but maybe you can just, guide us through. How should we approach Finidi George in terms of supporting and maybe giving him a flack when he deserves it?
Well, from the announcement from yesterday, the feelers on social media space, everywhere in Nigeria, people were happy. I think the better percentage of people we're happy that, we have a local coach, a domestic coach, and of course, a familiar face in the team. Talking about Finidi George, like I said, he won the MPFL title. He's doing well in the MPFL again. So it's a fan of the local scene, and of course, people love him. But the expectation is very high. We cannot afford to lose or not to go to the World Cup back to back. And that is why it's very important that they settle with Finidi George as soon as practicable, so that he can start preparing. Start preparing is not actually playing on the pitch, but of course, sending letters to the players that will fit into your philosophy. Like I said, he took over the team in Morocco. So there's high expectation. We are playing our rivals, talking about South Africa. We defeated them at AFCON, but this is very important again because we need to beat them so that they will not run away with the first position in our group. So it's very key for Finidi George to do everything right because, like I said, it's a must-win. Away from the foreign coach or away from local coaches, the average fan out there want to see the Super Eagles beating the South Africans, beating the Benin Republic, and of course, getting that ticket to the World Cup in next time. So for Finidi George, it's a big task for him. For the fans, I don't think they have a lesser, objective or expectation from this manager. They want them to win, and of course, like I said, we cannot afford to miss out at the World Cup back to back.
I'm sure that you've had interactions across board between the coaches and the players. Let's zoom in on the players this time. If you were to talk to them as to how they should respond to this new development, what will it be? Because at the end of the day, this is a local coach who has done well for himself within the local space and has been assistant to Posero for a while. But sometimes we see that the attitude of players can also impact on the performance of the coach. How should he manage all of this in terms of ego, in terms of management of the players across board?
That's one good thing that is going in for Finidi George right now is the players respect him very well. At AFCON, he was like the go-to guy when it comes to dishing out instructions by the pitch side, even during training. So they respect him. Remember, he has won it all. He won the Champions League. He played in the World Cup, played at AFCON. So it's like a role model to most of these boys. So the respect is there already. What we just want for him is to stamp his authority in terms of philosophy and in terms of calling player. Remember, in Morocco, the feeders from Morocco, it was well respected. And we saw it at AFCON as well. And because at Morocco, it was actually an interim coach. So the respect was there, but now it's the head coach of the team and the players from AFCON. For what I saw myself, respect him 100%. So that's good for the 1994 set, like they say, coming back to coach the Super Eagles. But all in all, I think the players respect Finidi George, and with what he has done as a player, what he's doing as a manager, and what he has achieved even with the team itself, I think is a big plus for him to give that respect that he won from the players. So like I said, the players respect him, and it's good that he's settled that Finidi George will be the coach of the Super Eagles.
All right, Suleiman Adebayo, Pooja, thank you so much for your thoughts and insight. As always, when we call on you on these issues, we hope that this is going to play out for Nigeria positively at the end of the day. We have to support our own and see how this ends. And finally, we have come back to use local content. And we hope, I was calculating the difference between Posero's money and what will likely be that of Finidi George. So if Posero, today's exchange rate, will be earning 60 million naira. So let's try and figure out how much we're going to give to Finidi George to motivate him to do the best he can for the country. Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the softer side of life and talk to a gentleman right here in the studio on the Morning Brief. Join us again.